Hey, 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 guys. Welcome to another episode of Hello World with your girl Joy from btdllc Clothing. What's going on, guys? I hope you're having a beautiful day. I hope that everything amazing is happening in your life, no matter what. And shout outs to all of you for coming in. I appreciate you. Hey, Scratching, how you doing? Welcome in. Um, you know how I like to start it off first and foremost with saying how my day went. And so I woke up this morning. I went to work. Work was good. No complaints there. Um, I mean, what's there to complain about anyway? It's work. And working is good for the soul. And as long as the soul is getting exercised educationally in your work environment, then that's a good thing. So, yeah, I guess it was a good day. My lunch was okay. I will say though, recently I've been having lunch outside of the office, and it is beautiful because I have the sun hitting me right in my back, and it's just a wonderful experience. I feel like recharged, re-energized, and ready to tackle on more tasks. But other than that, it was a decent day. I'm not going to complain. I made it home. Um, I made it throughout the day. I made it to work. I made it to my next destination. I made it to this destination. I'm going to make it to my next destination from here. But all in all, I'm definitely grateful. Um, Today, I wanted to talk about censor and our sensories. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm just starting to really realize how much um, censorship is going on. And like to the point of you can't even say certain words that are not even harmful, but have so much of an impact. And without having the impact that the word brings, it's kind of like you kind of forget how deep it could be. And then like spelling it like hieroglyphically so we know what it says, but we can't really say it. You can't talk about it in your lives. You can't talk about it in your videos. You have to bleep words out. It's like the more our sensors are dulled down, two things happen. One, we're approving the control over whatever freedom of speech we had. And two, we are really forgetting the potentness of some of these words that actions come from. Like, you can't even say the R word. Like, I'm so like flabbergasted that I have to say it's the R word. You can't even say that. And then I'm hearing it's like SA. Like, you can't even say, like, you have to say people unalive. Like, what? And then sooner or later, saying unalive is not going to be appropriate either. At what point will we stop saying that things are not appropriate to say when they carry such high validity of the action when we are able to say what it actually means? So I'm sitting over here just flabbergasted that our sensories are no longer being censored to the degree where we understand. Like, it may sound trivial to you, but I guarantee if it's this bad now, imagine what eventually the word marriage is going to be. You can't say marriage, you have to say two people joined in a union. And then if that's no longer acceptable and it steps on too many toes, you can't say joined in the union. You just have to say two human beings that are in love. And then eventually, what if saying the word love becomes too sensitive? When we can no longer say love, what's going to happen? Oh, they can say love is a weapon now. We're weaponizing the word love, just like we're weaponizing the other words that we can no longer speak. Like, I'm not going to say it because I don't want, to get in trouble. I want to follow the protocol. But not even a year ago or two was it bad to say. I don't get it. What up, Carters? How you doing? Good to see you. So it's just like when, we were locked in our homes for a couple years. I was saying, like, eventually we're going to be like, I don't want anybody touching me. How many people still have that same stigma? There are still people out here who don't want to be touched because of fear that you might catch something. And then they started using the word against us. Like, you can't say COV anymore because that's just going to, you're using it in blasphemy. You don't know what it means. You don't know the brevity of chaos you can cause by talking about it. And then everybody had to use the other word, the virus. Like, oh my goodness, there are so many different viruses. How are we going to be able to associate what virus we're talking about if we can't even say the word? How many people will start to be confused with what virus is more deadly than the other if we can't even speak the actual word that it is? As a matter of fact, we didn't even create the word. It was already there. It originated from the people that are telling us we can no longer use these words. What is wrong? I have a quote in one of my books that says, eventually we will become too sensitized to be desensitized, that we won't even know what the difference is. We're going to get used to it. Just like we've overcome the virus that we can't even say the word to. Because then all of a sudden it's like your channel is blocked, your videos are blocked. When are we going to say enough is enough where we can't be told that by saying what it is, we're not trying to make anybody, become victim or fall victim from what truth we're saying. What is the underlying reason as to why we can't use certain words anymore that have so much brevity? If you become a victim of the R word, why can't we say it? And if we can't say it, then we're going to forget how deep that really means. Like I'm saying, the word love. If we can no longer say love, people are going to forget the meaning of love. All we're going to be able to say is emoji heart. And then you're supposed to understand what that means. I mean, I understand I was saying that we need to, take away some of the vernaculars that we've learned from these vocabulary books that have taught us things. But at the end of the day, there are certain things that we need to speak clearly and speak with very fine ethnicity so that people understand the power of what that word means. If I can't even spell out the R word and I have to put a $ for the A, and then I can put the P and the E at the end. When are we going to say no? That's enough. You're not going to tell me that I can no longer say this word. Who are we hurting? For the last umpteenth million years, we were able to freely say the word and other words. But now all of a sudden, we're censorized or we're censored. And then while we're being censored, our sensory glands are being dulled to where we can accept that it no longer is as or weighty as what the definition wrote it out to be. Does that leave leeway for people to do whatever and say, well, oh no, you can't, you're going to hurt me, the offender, and the victim is now going to be more victimized because we're talking about, but no, I'm pretty sure a victim wants you to understand the brevity of what they went through by saying the word loud and proud. I mean, when they get to that level, but I'm just saying, Why are we going to diminish the fact that it means what it means? And when you say it, everybody understands what it means. But when we can't even spell it out, can't even speak it, we then say it's okay. It's really going to be no. And then eventually, when people no longer know how to spell words, we're going to be, I guess, back to the hieroglyphs. Maybe that's not too bad of a, maybe that's not bad. But I do want everybody to understand the definition still remains the same. You are physically hurting someone else. You are taking pieces of their soul that you had not been given access to and now using it against them. Violation after violation. Maybe that word will be taken out too. You can no longer say violation because it ought to be too weighty for some people who don't like, who love to violate. Who are we protecting more? The victim or the person inflicting? I believe that we're protecting more the person inflicting versus the victim. No one, and I mean no one, including myself, would ever want anybody to diminish the experience that I had by telling me that I can't say the word, by telling the world that it's unacceptable to no longer say the words. What do you guys think? Really, like, what do you believe? Like, what do you believe is truly going on where words are no longer acceptable to be spoken? Huh? What word are they saying we can't say? Like, essay, when you're being assaulted, you can't speak that word. You can't say the R word. You can't say um, abuse. Like, what? Look all over YouTube, certain headlines. Like more recently, look at the person who's being scrutinized for, you know, battery of many people. That's what they're putting out there. If you look at them and if you listen to the videos, they bleep out those words that aren't even foul language. Like, how is it okay to have speak foul language, but you can't even say other things? What? What kind of sense does that make to you or me? It makes none whatsoever. I can't believe it. They done took words from me, from me. Now I gotta be tiptoeing over other people's feelings because I can't say words on the internet. What? It's crazy. But I really, really want to drive in and hone in on the fact that it's going to cause long-term effects to the human sensory. Touch has been taken away from us, maybe temporary for some, but a lot for others longer. Words are being taken from us. Eventually, we're going to be afraid to speak our minds. I'm nervous about that. I'm nervous at how deep this is starting to go, how much it's spiraling out of control. How am I offending somebody by saying those words? How is it offensive? And what regulation and what regulator decided that it was offensive to the world? It's crazy. Subliminally, we are being taught that being human is no longer acceptable. Having emotion and feelings and expressing it is no longer acceptable. It's offensive to too many. It's amazing. Think about it. Even 5 years ago, this would have never been a conversation. Like, really, who is they? Auntie Mama's here. Hey, Auntie Mama. Auntie Mama's here to stay. Hey, Josh, how you doing? I don't know. I don't know. But I really would love to know who they is. I'm pretty sure they are people who use all of those same words frivolously in their conversation and in their own endeavors. But the rest of us have to fall in line and be robotic until it's okay to be a robot and be robotic because I'm fed what I can and cannot say. Oh my, oh me, what am I going to do? I can't function in a world that tells me it's wrong. To be me, to be human, to have emotion. Z- Doesn't that frighten you? Doesn't that cause alarm? Like so many alarms should be going off, like, especially people who create content, which is 98% of the world who create content. We should be like, no, absolutely not. You are not going to tell me that is blasphemous and offensive, or whatever reason why you regulated that is not okay for me to say words that describe an action that was so offensive and took away part of my soul. Because why? And then slowly but surely, we're going to be sensitized or no longer have the sensory. Well, or because of sensory, we'll no longer be able to see these vivid videos of things that other humans are doing to other people, violations. That's going to be taken away as well. When is enough enough? I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed at how slowly but surely the human existence is no longer acceptable. Who would have thunk it? You? Me? Never. The same way we never thought that it was possible to be locked in our homes for a year or two and be okay with staying in and watching everything and doing everything inside and not getting the fresh air that we need and not experiencing nature so that we can be sensorized and our senses awakened to the realities of what our purposes can be. Listen, it's very spiritual. We have to be able to go outside into nature so nature can open us, those sensories that need to be touched and can only be touched by the hem of nature. I know I played on that word, but anyway, how can we have access to the unseen if we are not able to experience the unseen in reality? We don't see wind, but we still need to feel it so that sensory stays alive. We see color vividly because our sensory glands and our eyeballs are opened up to what true colors are. And those memories become right embedded in our brain. So this color associates with that. Oxygen, 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 y'all. Ain't nothing like breathing in stale air all day, all night. But when you go outside in the rain or outside in the sunshine, get your vitamin D naturally, and your sensories are awakened to understanding the beauty and getting connected back with God. It's that serious, okay? I don't know if you ever thought about it that way, but I think these things through, okay? You know what I'm saying? It just hits me, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But that's what we're getting sucked out of our souls. So it's easier to be controlled, because when your soul is no longer in alignment with anything, you're an empty shell, you're an empty vessel. And what do people do with empty vessels? They rebuild it to whatever they want it to be. I can't tell you who to sock it to. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. Wow. Hey, Sheed, how you doing? Wow, wow, wow. It all boils down to really, really doing and making our best efforts to hold the people who are telling us what is good for us and what is no longer good for us. Holding them accountable to saying, listen, I know you want to have my back, but I can handle it. And this is what I need you to do. If you really want to have my back, these are the things that I need you to do. Lower gas, lower groceries. Make living in America very easy. Make having accessibility and holding companies accountable for at least taking care of your employees at least once a year. Make it mandatory that you have to give them a raise. I don't care if it's a private sector or not. You cannot feel comfortable with having people work day in, day out, year in, year out, after year, and not even feel obligated or obligation to at least boost them up to whatever the cost of living is. I mean, after all, you make people pay business tax, so why can't you walk up in their business and say, this is what you have to do? Why can't those things be mandated? Oh, I guess because it helps. It helps people actually excel in life and feel comfortable to be able to vacation and spend time with family again. Why is it okay to mandate that I can't speak certain words, but you won't mandate employers to do certain things? Oh, you have to start your union in order to do that. Well, we already know what happens when people try to start unions. We've seen it through history. And even whoever was in charge at that time ripped up the whole union idea, the union worker idea. See, those were times when employers were held accountable for the treatment of their employees. But the censor took out the sensory. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are living proof of what happens when there is no longer any accountability in those areas. It's crazy, right? It's absolutely crazy. It's very deep, though. 23 minutes. Well, if there's one thing I would love for you to take from this, is to realize and recognize what is going on around us. Once we become censored, it dulls our senses. And once our senses are dulled enough, we won't have the immunity to stand up for anything. Never let anything or anyone take your immunity away. We still have a fighting chance to step up and make a difference and be the difference. Are we willing though? Or are we easily preyed upon to fall in line? If you don't feel bad about how things are going, then I need you to really wake up, because it is going to affect, well, it is affecting. 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 It is affecting how we live life. And at what point will we say, now I feel disrespected? Here we all are, adults of age, and are still told we cannot say certain things, and we cannot do certain things that show the brevity of violations from people who have victimized others. Never forget, if it's not today and maybe tomorrow, but you may become a victim of not being able to speak or voice your opinion or your mind and say your piece so that you can be at peace. You're going to be censored to the point where your sensories are just gone. Are you willing to allow that to happen? Really? I can't tolerate that. So here we have it. A company that's all about being a difference through written messages may never reach the status of other companies that don't have a message, not trying to downplay their successes. But until all of us start standing for something and not falling for everything, then being the difference is only going to be a word. Let's start to live it and walk it and be it and walk in that truth. Walk in your truth. Your truth is that you are a soul, that God has encapsulated a body and organs and skin and flesh and fluids. And we have a mission and something that we need to fulfill before we cross over into back essence. But with this experience, it's supposed to be good. How good can it be if we've become too censored? How good? Like you're gonna be stepping on eggshells, like, oh my goodness, I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I can't speak at all. But what about my feelings? It's okay for you to hurt mine and tell me that I'm wrong or I'm violating others when it's the absolute truth and it's a word that you created, words that you created, and now you're using it against me? Like, really? Hey Hustler, how you doing? How you doing? It's so good to see you. I'm just talking about sensory versus being censored. And as you can see, if you look at all of the latest headlines, you know, the mogul that's being accused of many crimes. Oh my goodness, probably that's not even right to say, right? But accused of many violations in almost every title and in all those videos, they cannot even speak the words. You have to spell the R word, R, $ P-E. You can't even say S-A. You have to say S-A, which means assault. Why is that bad to say when it's a reality that some people have experienced? We are losing the brevity of these words by not being by being censored from saying them. And then if we can't say them, we're not going to teach it, or we're going to fail to teach to the people who are coming up that it's not good to do to others. It's crazy. And I'm bothered by it. I'm bothered to the point where I made a live, and hopefully it's bringing awareness to all of us that at some point in time we need to say and defend ourselves, defend our humanness, and say, look, yeah, I understand you know, you good and all, but no, you're not going to tell me that it's not okay to speak words that have so much meaning to it, especially if I'm the victim. Soon you're going to be like, you can't even say the word victim because it's going to offend the person who betrayed the victim. And then you won't be able to say the word love because it's going to offend people who have been not been loved all their life. And now it hurts their ego and it brings them back to a point where they did not feel love and why they're not a lovable person. It may sound crazy, but who would have ever thought that you couldn't even say that word, the R word, essay, abuse? Like, who would have ever imagined? I never imagined. I mean, I guess that's probably why I'm so shocked and appalled that this is for real a reality. Even in lives, because like when I scroll, you know how sometimes when you scroll, like the 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 volume will be on, and then if you don't scroll fast enough, then you'll start to see what's going on. And then sometimes if I don't scroll fast enough, there could be a live, and because I've been indulged deeply in what's been going on with this particular mogul, some people's lives are there and they're like, yeah, is accused of SA, is accused of R. And I'm like, oh my goodness, really? Are you serious? This is like for real. And it hurts. It hurts me because I know it's got to hurt the victim where you can't even describe or can't even talk about the very thing that happened to you. You can't even say it if you wanted to on social media. The very place where all the news goes through now. Because nobody's really watching TV. Come on, like for real. Who turns on channel 9, channel 12, or channel 11? Really? You're turning on CNN, you're turning on BET, you're turning on VH1, you're turning on like the latest podcast. You're not going like, oh, what's going on Pix 11? You know what I'm saying? You're not doing that. So let's just become very aware about the things that are being taken away from us, the human aspects of us that help us to be emotional are being taken away from us. But one thing that they can't take away is by me telling you that you are beautiful and that you're amazing and that everything that surrounds you and encapsulates you can make you a better person. All of the bad things that happen to us in our lives don't have to stay in our lives. They could be a thing of the past that can no longer harm or affect us because you are beautiful and amazing. God, your maker, creator, or whoever you believe in, felt you worthy enough to wake up today, felt you worthy enough to be protecting you still to this day, felt you worthy enough that even if you've put yourself in positions that you should not be in, still protects you and still leads and guides you, even though you may not be there, respecting and thanking. But you still are here because there's a purpose. And until you fulfill that purpose, I believe you're going to stay here. We're all going to stay here. Like, I don't want to go anywhere else. I like this whole entire world situation. I like that whole aspect of everything. But I don't want to get taken nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to stop breathing. I want to be here. Oh, and even still, you can't even say the D word. You have to say unalive. You can't even say somebody committed. You have to say they unalive themselves. Like, what kind of, why? And eventually, unalive is going to not be acceptable. So then what can you say to represent someone taking their own? Why? Why are these things so bad to say? Why? 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 Never forget how beautiful you are. Never forget that if every day you wake up and get the opportunity to use most of your limbs, and especially your brain, Give some of that to God, your maker creator, so they can lead you into places that you've never imagined you could be led to. And get the gifts and all of the love that you were supposed to have because you followed the leader. May your days be bright. May your love be genuine. May you have peace in the midst of all life. May you find your purposes so that you can leave your imprint in this life, so that those footsteps have a foundation, steadfast, so when people walk in it, they're not sinking. They're just keeping on moving. Lastly, may you love yourself enough to not tolerate nonsense anymore. So, with that being said, if you want to support Be the Difference Clothing, please go to btdifferencellc.com. Shop for anything inspirational with messages that are printed so that we can subliminally inspire those who see what you're wearing and those who, well, you who are looking at yourself in the mirror. May your light forever shine, and may your light be so good and sweet that it lights up for others to follow. And until we meet again, my name is Joy from Be the Difference Clothing, and I am signing out on another. Oh, and I have to say one other thing too. Amber Lover! Oh my goodness, hey girl, how you doing? Sorry. I have to say one other thing. I forgot what I was going to say because I saw Animal Lover. What was I going to say? Oh my goodness. I tripped my own self up. But what I want to say is you are beautiful. You are amazing. Never let a day go by without respecting that beauty and amazement. My name is Joy from Be the Difference Clothing, and I am signing out on another episode of Hello World.